All right, guys, Aaron here from Curls on the Rack, and today we're gonna get all up in my cavity, the wall cavity over here. I'm gonna go through and show you exactly what I did to accomplish getting a PC, monitors, speakers, sound system, everything you could possibly need in the gym, or that I could think that you could need. We're gonna go over that today. Not quite a DIY video, but sort of an overview and partial DIY, I guess. I'm not gonna rip out this one to put a new one in, but I'll try my best to explain how I did it, and you guys can go from there. All right, first off, I'm going to give you guys a brief overview of what I have going on here. So this is a door that I just made out of plywood with some hinges that I got on Amazon. They're kind of the I guess this like the IKEA type hinge that you can get on there. I think they're like $9 or $10. And the reason I went with these is because when they close on a normal hinge, you're going to run in to the wall over here. But with these hinges, you can adjust them so that way when they come out and then swing over. So you're not going to run into anything on the corner there. Now, I know this is a little messy in here, but everything's functions and everything, and who cares? You know, it's going to be sitting behind this wall when you're not using it anyways, so who really cares? So the first thing I did was I went ahead and I needed power in here. So as you can see, I had power over on this wall. Now, when I started, this thing was an total open garage. So all I had were the beams running vertically every 16 inches. Your garage will probably be similar. I mean, that's the standard. You can see them here, and you can see them on that side. Now, if you don't know what you're doing when it comes to electricity, please don't say that I'm the one that told you and you got electrocuted and died. Call an electrician if you really don't know what you're doing. But I piped off of this guy here, ran through the wall, just drilled through, and then came around this corner with some electrical, popped the box, screwed that onto the wall, put your socket on there, and now I have power here. After I had power here, I then put a power strip on the wall, just so I could get everything that I needed power in here. The next thing I did was I built a little bit of just a 2x4 shelf here. Number one, I cut a hole in it so that way it would have a little bit of ventilation. You don't need much ventilation. I don't have a problem in here. There's enough airflow going all the way up, but I needed to get the cables up, so I popped a hole in there, ran all the cables up. Okay, so once I had the power installed in here, I went ahead and I got an amplifier. Now this one's the Pile Bluetooth something or other, and I'll put the link and the model in the description on the video. The reason I went with this one, it has a USB on the front. You know, you can adjust your treble, your bass. You can plug auxiliary here. You can have headphones. Then you also have on the other side, you have your speaker wire that you can go off to. So that's the reason I wanted this one. For number one, if I had a friend over or I just didn't even want to use the PC, you can actually just use this amplifier with some speakers in the wall and use your phone on Bluetooth. So if you don't care about having the PC in here, you don't want to watch anything on the screens, then that's a really simple way to go, and you'll hide everything and you'll have your music for when you're working out. After I got that in, what I did was similar to installing the electrical. I took speaker wire and I ran that up and then over through the walls over to the speakers. So the speakers here are just these are literally some generic speakers that I think a guy in a van was cruising around, and I bought them when I was 18. So they've just been in storage, sitting around. And what I did with them is I cut the back off of them. So you can't really see it here, and I don't feel like ripping down this stuff to show you, but you cut the back off of them, and then there's still enough clearance for the whole box to go right in the wall. You mount that to the wall. I just did it diagonally into the studs, and then what I did was since you're taking the back off, you are changing the sound a little bit. I made the porthole a little bit smaller. So as much as I took off the back, I made it that much smaller here, so you still get the same amount of the functionality, I guess, with the sound from the speakers. So if you wanted to, you could just stop there and you'd have audio system in your garage. But if you want to go and take it a step further, you like being able to watch videos and whatnot, now you got to get some sort of monitor and you got to get a computer. Now, there are a lot of computers that you can buy already that are really small. There's the NUC Intel computers. There's, let's see, Raspberry Pi you could even get if you're a little bit technical. Very, very small single board computers that you can get to throw in here. But they're going to cost you a little bit more money, and I'm all about doing things on the cheap. And so what I did was I just went on Craigslist and I bought one of those small form factor PCs, and I'll show you how I got the motherboard on the wall here. So this is like a Intel Lenovo small form factor PC, and the reason I went with this one is because if you get a desktop PC and you need to put a power supply in the wall, the power supply is going to be too big and you're not going to be able to close the door. So the little small form factor ones, they have a smaller power supply, so you can actually fit that thing right inside the wall and have proper ventilation for that. You can get these things for like $30 on OfferUp. All right, as you can see, I got the PC. We'll assume that you guys have one too, just found it on Craigslist or whatnot. This is how you disassemble it. First, you take off the three pegs that are on the front. You take that front piece off. You can flip up the CD-ROM. Next, you want to pull the cables out. You want to disconnect pretty much all the cables. That's the hard drive right there. If you didn't get a solid state drive, that's fine, but you may want to consider upgrading to a solid state drive just so that it's a little bit faster. It really breathes new life into these older PCs. Next, I'm just disconnecting the power, all the cables, getting that all out of the way. Once I have all that disconnected, I am going to go ahead and disconnect all the front panel cabling, the front USB cabling. You could choose to throw that front USB back on there, just run a line and then mount the front USB like I kind of did behind the door there. Next, I'm going to take all the screws out of the motherboard so we can get this thing popped out. One more screw right here. And if you just pick up the motherboard and sort of angle it and pull towards the front of the case, it'll pop right out of that I/O slot in the back, and you got your motherboard out. Next step, it's getting that power supply out. So there's three or four screws on the back side of the case which secure the power supply in there. Once you get those out, open the case back up, and there's a little tab on there. You push it down, and it'll slide right over, and there you go. Now you can just take all the cables. They're just pinned down with some clamps, and you got your power supply out. The only other thing you're going to need from this is the front panel button. If you don't have another button, like I did, you can use the existing one here. There's some tabs on the front. Pop it out. You take the cable out, and you can plug this guy right back in to the motherboard once you get the PC inside of the wall. So you can disregard the case at this point, and you got your motherboard, you got your hard drive, you got your power cable, which you can put back on. If you use the existing one, they just fit one way. They have a little tab that's not pushed in and indicates which way it goes on there. And that is it. All right, guys, so once you have your motherboard out, everything that you need, your options are thus. You can mount it right to the inside of the cavity there, but be careful because you may go through and hit your siding, and you don't want any sort of water damage or water getting in. So what I did was made another backing. Now you can use plexiglass or just some thin wood. You can throw something together here, and what you can do is drill. You line up the motherboard to where you want to go. Let's say we're going to use the plexiglass here, and just take a Sharpie, and you can just mark where the holes in the board are. Take that away, drill little tiny holes, and what you'll find in the bottom of the case here, where you took the motherboard out of, are these little risers here. They might be black, they might be a different color than this, but what you can do with these is then screw these into the hole and use the existing screws that you took out of the motherboard when you took it out of the case, and you can mount it right to this. Once you do that, you can Velcro this in the wall. It may just sit right up in the wall, so it might be fine. Another easy way to go is just use hooks and hang it however you want. So probably more like this, but you could hang it, go through the two hooks at the top, and it will just hang right in the wall like this. So tons of different options. Each one of them is going to be safe. Just don't grill through the outside of your house. So once you have your PC in the wall, you're going to need some way to turn it on. So you're going to lose that power button from the front of the PC. So what I did was I just got some, you can use any kind of wire. You could even use speaker wire. It doesn't really matter. You find the two little pins that are for the power. And what I did was I ran them all the way up here into the door, and I put one of these guys on here. I think this is one of those anti-theft locks or buttons, I'm sorry, but it doesn't really matter what you use. You can put anything in here, just so you have some way to turn off the PC when you're not using it, put it into power save mode and whatnot. All right, the next thing I did, you can disregard the cables here. That's just for a security system that I have outside and all this other stuff. A lot of wires. You won't have that many if you're just doing a simple PC build, but you will need to run two wires up here to the top portion of this. And what these are is they're just these ELO touchscreen monitors. Now these a lot of times are used for point of sale systems in businesses, so you can get these pretty cheap because they're always going bigger with these things. They just get rid of them. These were, I think these were like 10 bucks a piece at like Goodwill. So it'll take some hunting, but the reason I did these ones is because these are 17-inch monitors, and they fit between, because you measure diagonally, they fit between the 16-inch rafters. So what I did was I got a couple of those cheap $5 mounts from Amazon, put on the back, mount them to the back of these, and then they're good to go in the wall. For me, the biggest thing on deciding to do the PC and the monitors is just because I like having options. So if I want to go from Spotify to YouTube or whatever I might want to do out here, I just have a little bit more options at the push of a button. So that's the reason I really went with doing the monitors in here. I don't really watch TV out here or anything like that. Okay, so let's say you couldn't find any touchscreen monitors, but you did find a 17-inch monitor. If you get one of these guys, it's just a little tiny keyboard with a little trackpad on it. You can get these on Amazon for 15 bucks, something like that. That's RII. I think that's what this one is. You can use this as well, and then, you know, store it somewhere when you're not using it. I used to just Velcro this thing right up here. So that's another route to go if you can't find the touchscreen monitors, because, you know, you're gonna have to get lucky on finding those. The next thing I did was I wanted a timer on the wall. And like I mentioned in the other garage build video, this is just an old iPad #1, I think. But the only app I use on it is the Gym Boss app here. And then you can customize your timers, and it's all on touchscreen. You just, you know, get it greasy, whatever, wipe it off later. And so I didn't ever want to have to keep recharging it. So I mounted it up here, and I left a little bit of tiny space right down there, and I ran this guy to the power brick over there. All right, guys, so a couple more options that you have if you want to throw a computer in the wall is you can go with the ultra small form factor, or sometimes they call these micro. This will actually fit inside the wall all together. You don't need to take any motherboards out. They're a little bit harder to find online, but they do go for around the same price, since it really has the same specs. It's just a tiny bit more compact than the other PC. This one you can just throw right in the wall. It comes with a brick power supply that'll fit in there too. So that is another great option to go with if you're trying to throw a PC in the wall. Another option is, and what this called is, it's in a case right now, but this is a Raspberry Pi 4. And what this is basically a single board computer. It has all the same functionality, has built-in Bluetooth, built-in Wi-Fi, got your USB 3, your Ethernet plug, a little fan. So this is another very, very tiny, it's about the size of a credit card, option for you to throw in there. I will note though that you cannot run Windows on this. You can run Linux-based operating systems. So it's a little bit more technical than the PC if you're new to the IT related things. So another great option if you're trying to throw a PC in the wall. All right, guys, there you have it, done. Hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully I gave you guys some ideas of what you guys can do to throw some sort of entertainment system into your garage gym. And if you liked the video, please hit the like button, subscribe, and I have new videos coming soon, probably some more product reviews, got some stuff on the way. And then check out our website, because we got free workouts over there, we got merch, a bunch of other cool stuff. So until next time, peace.